You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner, and this is your next video update for Wednesday, May 23rd, 2018. Thank you all for listening. The show this week kicked off with TM61 versus Heavy Machinery. This match was set up last week when TM61 wanted to go out to drink beers and eat steaks with Heavy Machinery. However, Otis and Tucker refused to do that with cheaters. And before the match, he showed Jonathan Coachman sitting at ringside for some reason. Thorne and Miller were having a hard go of it early on as they got thrown around by their heavier opponents. At one point, they set up Nick Miller in the corner, a la if Goldust was going to give him shattered dreams. Then they picked up Shane Thorne and did a battering ram into Miller's midsection. Remember when a takeoff of that was the Bushwhackers finish? Finally, Thorne blind tagged himself in and used a really nice spinning European uppercut to Thorne to cut him off. Knight came back, and actually he did that to Knight because it would be weird for him to do it to Thorne since that was his partner. Actually, that was him. Damn, I screwed that one up, didn't I? Anyway, so Tucker Knight, who was the one that was hit with the really nice spinning European uppercut, used a double suplex on Miller and Thorne before making the hot tag. Dozovich literally ran wild, ramming his hefty body into his smaller foes. We broke down into a four-way, but Knight went flying ass over tea kettle over the corner post. Dozovich went for a Vader bomb, but Thorne from the outside leapt up and kicked him in the head. Finally, Miller rolled up Dozovich, put his feet on the ropes. Thorne furthered the cheating by holding down his feet for the extra leverage on top of the extra leverage to pick up the win, and TM61's on a winning streak. Odds are the four of them won't go out for beers together tonight either. Who knows, though? We had a video package for Bianca Belair, which led to an announcement of a Who is Bianca Belair video package series starting next week. If you recall, they've done these in the past, including with Finn Balor and Roderick Strong. They've always been good. However, if you want it to be snarky, and not that I would ever be guilty of being snarky, but you could point out that they had a video package to promote that next week, on this very show, there will be a video package. EC3 will have his third match next week. And then back in the ring, it was Kairi Sane one-on-one with Lacey Evans. Evans lost to Kairi about 6 weeks ago or so, and was so upset by this that she Pearl Harbored Sane in unladylike fashion, which led to this rematch. This was a more hard-hitting match than you would perhaps expect when one of the competitors is Lacey Evans. Evans took over by stomping on the elbow of Sane. Not sure why that's become the big move in NXT lately. Sane made her comeback, starting with the Dragon Screw leg whip, and then hit all of her setup moves, culminating with the Interceptor and the Sliding D. Evans rolled outside the ring, but Sane followed her and threw her right back in. Sane went up top to come off with a big what a maneuver, but Evans caught her with the woman's right for the upset win as Lacey Evans pins Kairi Sane. Kathy Kelly just happened to be standing outside Full Sail University waiting for Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae when who just happened to show up 25 minutes into the show but Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. What a complete shocker. Gargano was in a neck brace and said that while he's seen better days, he's here. Him and Candice made a decision as a team, and he's going to go out to the ring tonight to tell everyone what that is. After winning a six-man tag over Undisputed Era last week, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch wanted a title shot, which led to Undisputed Era hanging out, cutting a promo, which was just really weird because Roderick Strong specifically said there would not be a title match with Lorcan and Burch, and then 2 seconds later, after Kyle O'Reilly had his turn to speak, Roddy then said that there would be a title match in Chicago. and that he also wants to wrestle Daniel Burch. And Kyle O'Reilly said it was Pete Dunne's fault for giving hope to a couple of losers. It was then time for the 2-on-1 handicap match. Ricochet and Velveteen Dream going 2-on-1 with Lars Sullivan. You might recall that last week, Ricochet and Dream were attempting to have a match when they both got destroyed by an interfering Sullivan. Very quickly, Ricochet and Dream began ignoring the tag team aspect of this match, as both at different points were illegally in the ring for well over 20 seconds just to double team. I guess it's okay since the referee really didn't care, especially since neither could do anything on their own, so why not try together? They managed to get Sullivan down for a double cover, which should have been illegal, but again, the referee did not care, and they got a 2 count off that. Sullivan finally grew tired of this cheating, so he sent Ricochet into space before ripping at Dream's face. Sullivan just beat on Dream, finally hitting his diving headbutt, but Ricochet broke up the cover because he's a good teammate. Dream was able to make the hot tag to Ricochet, who used his speed to strike Sullivan and stay out of his grasp, when suddenly Velveteen Dream turned out to be the biggest turncoat since Benedict Arnold tried to surrender the plans to West Point to the British, as he laid out Ricochet with a rolling Death Valley driver. Dream then literally ran away as Sullivan pinned Ricochet with a freak accident. Next week, the NXT champion will be in the arena as Aleister Black has vowed to cut a promo. And then it will be the NXT Women's Championship as Shayna Baszler defends her title against her frightened foe, Dakota Kai. Speaking of Dakota Kai, Kathy Kelly interviewed her about this match. Kai said she's dreamt about being NXT Women's Champion, and it's insane to her that she's getting a title shot. Perhaps the most insane part is I think she's won one match in a year, but then again, so have Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, and they're getting a title shot. Kai, however, is saddened, and that's going to be against Shayna Baszler, who is the biggest bully she's ever met. I'm not sure who she thought the title match was going to be against, but anyway. Baszler walked up smirking and mocking Kai and her lack of a chance. Kai finally spoke to Shayna, saying, "We'll see about that." The show ended with an appearance by Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae in the ring. Gargano talked about how the last time he was here, he was getting ready for an NXT Championship match when he was assaulted by Tommaso Ciampa. Every morning when he wakes up, his neck brace reminds him of having his head smashed off an LED board and dropped off the side of a ramp through a table. He said that it was time to think about not just his future, but both his and Candice's futures. He needs to ask himself if this is worth it, which the fans vehemently agreed that it was. Gargano continued that with the injuries adding up and the tolls it's taking on everyone, is it worth it? And again, the fans vehemently agreed that yes, that was worth it. Johnny finally ripped off his neck brace and yelled that it was worth it before challenging Tommaso Ciampa to get out here and finish this right now. Candice apparently did not agree with this, as she was begging him not to do it. Ciampa came out as Candice ran away to the back and returned with 3 referees. The referees did a surprisingly adequate job at restraining Gargano as Candice pleaded with her husband. Johnny seemed to agree to go backstage when Ciampa goaded him on, so Johnny ran to the ring, but Ciampa knocked Gargano off the apron, and Johnny fell into Candice, who fell onto the ramp and played dead. Now, there are positives and negatives to this, and that's, by the way, the show went off the air. The paramedics came down to check on her, and Candice, she literally was playing dead. Not moving, not talking, eyes were closed, etc. The positives are that, in theory, this was a tremendous angle. Everyone played their roles very well. They didn't quickly do it and cut away to the back or cut away off the air. They gave it enough time to really sink in and give you another reason to tune in next week. The negative, and I know that Johnny Gargano is like 170, 180 pounds, so it's not quite the same. However, Candice is a trained pro wrestler, and she took a bump on the same ramp we see 100 people fall on every single week. Not saying that this whole thing wasn't well done, because it was. Just that it was hard to take it too seriously when I watched a professional wrestler take a bump that many other professional wrestlers regularly take with no consequences. Maybe, just maybe, if that bump hadn't happened a billion times in the past year, maybe I could take it as a serious thing. I'll tell you what, the other good thing about this is that, there was control. We didn't see any other bumps on the ramp on this show. And normally, you'll see 2 or 3 people every single week take a bump on that ramp. So, there's a little bit of good stuff there, but I still think it's a little too much to believe that she is suddenly knocked unconscious. But, what do I know, right? So anyway, that's going to do it for this week. I want to thank you all for listening, and I want to talk to you in 7 days. And if you have any hate mail, send it to Stevie J, because I don't want to read it. Take care and have a good one.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.